And the final presentation for today will be made, what is the traditional presentation from the tech support of Racurs. Dmitry Kochergin is our permanent presenter of such presentations. Good evening, dear colleagues. As Victor just said, my presentation is indeed traditional every year. The tech support from Racurs reports on the changes that were introduced into the system of the past 12 months, and usually a new version is released. This year it will be 6.4. It's not out yet, but it will be out in about a couple of weeks, and we are going to present it at the Intergeo. I will be brief. I will tell you that you will see everything during the master class, where we'll be able to really look at all the details there. This is the list of all the innovations and new functions in the 6.4 version, 3D model, which is built on 3D tin or 2.5D tin, despite the fact that 2.5 is a jargon for us, but it also reflects the reality here. The new functions of the filtration for point clouds, for the grammetric point cloud, radical speeding up of satellite blocks adjustment, improvement of UAVAT improvements, bad block layouts, 3D modeling for satellite imagery, new sensor supported, an export of RPC with affine transformation. Before that we only had a shift. New 3D formats for export, stereo vectorization tool, stereo client that Andrei Sechin spoke about today, true ortho improvements, full support of GSK 2011 in full accordance with the GOST standard. The previous presentation was about that, PHOTOMOD conveyor modifications and web layers improvement. Let's start with 3D. This is the most significant change. This is what the 3D model looks like, the typical model. This is the town of Graz on oblique image acquisition, and here you can see the tin, which is forming this 3D model and texturizing it based on the source images, and here it is texturized. And here two examples when I was enumerating the new functions, 3D tin and 2.5D tin. 2.5D tin is a 3D model which is built based on altitude matrix or high elevation matrix. In fact, all this towers, vertical walls, but the details are not described because under the model is the matrix, and each pixel has only one Z coordinate. And the 3D model is built based on the point cloud. It's more honest, more accurate, and as a result we see that these towers are described much better with the use of negative slopes and other different elements of the elevation. Here we see the same thing, but as a network of triangles for 2.D and 3D.
Textures, I like this slide a lot. I showed it many times. This is how it looks from inside PHOTOMOD. It looks like great art. But this is how textures are stored. Indeed. And then they are pulled over tin. Next comes LAS filtering. So you generate a point cloud in PHOTOMOD, but then based on the number of stereo pairs, you are to apply a filter. The more stereo pairs are involved in processing, the more reliable picture you get. Because if it's just one pair, there's a lot of noise. And if there are more than four, the picture is much, much better. Another filter. You have a point cloud. And in parallel, you use a DSM and a DTM. One of them is used for noise above and the other below the point cloud. We will look into it at the master class. A new filter. a fairly actual task, relevant task, which is not as trivial as it might appear. So another filter has been created, filter by slope angle. One of its positive advantages is that it generates a better result, but the settings are very few. So just a couple. This is the current one, which is more sophisticated, harder to set. Bridges insertion or integration module has been improved as well. For example, you don't need houses to be transformed, but the bridges do. So now there are tools that allow you to analyze invisible zones per each image and generate cross points of polygons. For example, here on the left image it doubles, but on the right one it's a perfect match. Another case of a bad montage, block layout. This is an option, low quality of block layout it's called. Despite problems you might have, it helps you generate triangulation based on tie points. Well, we used to have something like that, but it has been considerably modified. Another option is manual angle setting, which is very peculiar, I might say. For satellites, we now have new sensors. One of them is IST or STORC 2D, PlanetScope USA, TripleSat China. Plus, you now can build 3D models from multi-temporal high-resolution images from space. This is a 3D model built multi-temporally. It wasn't a requested. They were just resection points placed optimally, speeding up. It's a temporary option called optimization. We hope that it will no longer be temporary soon. I mean, it will be integrated, but for now you can enable or disable it. So optimization on for 45 seconds and optimization off for 13 minutes. Many know that large chunks of space data might take a long time to adjust. A stereo client, which is what Andrei Sechin talked about, this is a workstation in stereo where images are uploaded remotely. Expert to cesium platform. These are the lists of formats that it supports. You now are able to adjust DSM using weights. I guess this is a subject for discussion during the Wednesday master class. As is true ortho pixel value, another subject that we can dig into in more detail on Wednesday. These two algorithms work in parallel, kind of. GSK 20 11, PZ90.11. These are ghost screenshots. Everything is supported by PHOTOMOD immediately after release. The PHOTOMOD conveyor, one button solution. Well, first you need to set it up properly and then push one button. Typically it is used at high performance computers. A UAS version will be released shortly, in a matter of days, I hope. Another snapshot of the conveyors module. I congratulate everyone on the 25th anniversary of our wonderful company. And this is a slide dedicated to just that, as you can see. 25 years of Racurs. Thank you, Dmitry Vsevolodovich. A lot of new things have been added, but we are going to have master classes on Wednesday, so please attend those. I guess